Okay, we have around 30 viewers right now. So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session. We hope that we'll take a lot of from this session for all of us. I will start with a small introduction of Product Tank, and then we'll start with our discussion with Abhishek. So, Product Tank is a non-profit initiative targeted towards impacting the product community in India. We are trying to do that in various ways. Uh, for example, by providing mentoring to startups, conducting speaker events in which we invite experienced product managers like Abhishek to share their learnings and experiences with the community. And another way which we are trying to add value is the creation of content such as blog posts, video recordings, etc., which are available on our YouTube channel, which is Product Tank Delhi. You can also join us on LinkedIn and Twitter to get the instant updates. So that is the very brief introduction of Product Tank. Now this is myself, Achal Arora, and I am an organizer at Product Tank, and we welcome our today's speaker guest Abhishek Rathore. Hi Abhishek.
Hi, Achal.
Thanks for taking out time to join us and sharing your knowledge with us. He is joining us from Tokyo, Japan. It's what around 4 p.m. at his in his zone. A little
Yeah,
bit about Abhishek. I've taken this down from various online resources, and Abhishek, please correct me if I am incorrect at any point. Uh, Abhishek
sure.
did his graduation from BITS Mishra and then did his MBA from IIM Lucknow. Right. Prior to MBA, he was working with Adobe Systems, where he interacted with product managers, and that is what got him interested toward the product management domain. And that is what he pursued after MBA. He started his product manager journey in 2012 with Snapdeal, and obviously, what a time it was to join the e-commerce industry in India, right? As a product manager,
Yeah,
he witnessed the humongous growth of the industry as well as Snapdeal. I'm sure it would have been a quite a learning experience, Abhishek, for you. And he went on to become the director of products at Snapdeal in 5 years. He was mainly focused on buyer experience and in specific the search and personalization platforms. He led this business from almost from scratch to 60% of the Snapdeal revenue. Then he moved to Japan, Tokyo, where he is responsible for global product strategy and roadmap of e-commerce platform. And he joined, so basically he joined Rakuten and he's looking at global product strategy and roadmap of e-commerce platform. He is also a mentor at upgrade.com where he mentors the budding product managers. Right, Abhishek? So
yes.
so this and today he is going to share us with us his views on data science for product managers. Right, Abhishek?
Yeah.
So
Thanks
we'll
for the
start.
introduction, Achal.
Thank you. So we'll
Yeah,
start with a few general queries, Abhishek. Uh,
sure.
if and then we'll have few queries, then your presentation, then few queries in the middle, and then your rest of the presentation, and then few queries in the end. We keep getting queries um, from our viewers, and we'll keep
Sure.
asking those queries.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
few
that's fine.
queries which we have gathered for the start of the session is what interested you about product management when you were at Adobe? So, this will help our viewers who are aspiring towards product manager to actually evaluate product management as a domain.
Yeah, sure. So while working at Adobe, uh, at that point of time, product management in India was almost not there, and I interacted primarily with product managers in US Adobe US office, and the kind of work that they were doing, and the overall the way they were the influence that product managers used to have on the overall product roadmap and strategy was something that I really liked. And even though I was working as an engineer there, working on the overall uh, the strategies that were built by product managers there then, the role that the product managers were doing and the kind of work that they were performing from the US office was really something that I looked forward as something that I want to do further in my career. So it involved both technology usage as well as business understanding, and that's what something that I wanted to do going forward. So so product management in Adobe also was a very sought after career,
Yes,
and now
yes,
in India
I
also it
agree.
has started in the last 4 5 years.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Good. So, and can you share some learnings from Snapdeal experience, the e-commerce growth? What has been your general learnings about the product management for our viewers who are interested in e-commerce specifically as a product management domain?
Yeah, so I think when we started the e-commerce journey in 2012, it was still at the very early stages and the nascent journey for us, and we were still learning, even trying new business models as such. So, not many people know that when Snapdeal started, it started primarily as an inventory-led model. So when we started initially, we even had a warehouse and we built a warehouse management system as well, and we used to buy products directly from vendors and then used to sell like a normal
Okay.
retailer.
Okay.
So all of these we tried different models, experimented with various ways of how we can satisfy user needs as well as the overall merchant needs, and then pivoted to marketplace model after 1 year uh, due to multiple reasons. Also, legal was one of the reasons. Like marketplace model was the main model that the government was supporting as well. So we changed our product really quickly at that point of time. It was really a rush to build a marketplace business side of things as well. And then we had a buyer and a seller kind of focus areas for us. So after that, I started focusing primarily on the buyer side of things. So initially, we were like doing everything because we used we used to have a warehouse, purchase product module, and then selling to the buyers. After 1 year, we moved to the marketplace model when we had a buyer focus, merchant focus, and then we added supply chain later after around 2 years of a journey. So it was really different learning experiences, trying different ways, and then figuring out what is working, and then kind of scaling up the working part is something that I would describe as my learning experience there.
Understood. Understood. Can you also share some insight on how the Japan market is different from Indian market, and what are your learnings? Very quickly, if you can share some points on that.
Yeah, sure. I think Japan market has been another very big learning curve for me in terms of it's a really mature market, and e-commerce penetration right now is almost I would say reaching 60 to 70 percentage of users I would say the population in Japan have purchased something online. So that is really a big thing for us, where almost everyone you talk to who are doing reels or going around, and they have experienced your product at one point of time. So that and in that kind of a high penetration market, you still need to keep on growing your overall business. So the challenges here is basically to increase the share of wallet from the users, keep getting them purchase more and more from you compared to say Indian market, which was more of still uh, getting more users, new users. So it was so moving from a new user market to getting more repeat user market was a new thing and another big learning curve for me. And still
Okay.
working on getting and learning those aspects of increasing repeat rates of users. I am also sharing a case study in my presentation about one thing that we tried and worked really well for us in increasing the repeat rate of users. But yeah, the focus has shifted from new user acquisition to more of repeat and getting more users from you because but you need to get more share of the wallet from the existing user base.
Understood. Understood. So very quickly, just let's start with your session on data science, and if you can also throw some light on why you decided that data science is a key skill for a product manager? How did you came up to that conclusion along the way, along your along your session?
Sh- Sure. So I'll start with my presentation, and
Just let me give you. Can you share your screens? Just let me.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll try.
Okay. Yeah, we are able to see your screen.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start. Uh, yeah. So I think, yeah, the introduction part has been done. So I would start with my presentation with the following three key points that I believe should be the takeaway from the session, and hopefully should help answer some of the queries that I have received over my interaction with various product managers in during my upgrade mentoring sessions, and all the other product sessions that I keep discussing with here in Tokyo as well. So the first point that I want to focus on is that many PMs, especially new aspiring PMs and new PMs that come into this domain,
Abhishek,
has this
just
question.
yeah, small point. Can you put your screen in the PPT mode? Your PPT in the presentation mode.
Yeah, I'm in the presentation mode.
Just let me check whether it is clear to our viewers or not. Just give me a second.
Abhishek, your screen has vanished so basically we are seeing the PPT and with the summary, slides on the left side. We don't see the summary slide as a full screen. If you could zoom it in if possible.
I put it in the presentation. Let me. Hmm. Can you see my?
We can see your screen. It is just that so it's not in presentation mode. It's in the slide mode.
You just zoom in the view, on the slide mode itself. Bottom right, you have the zoom in. How zoom can you do? Just zoom that in, and you should be able to see the bigger view of the same slides.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. 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 Yeah. So hopefully, yeah. So I'll continue. So the first question that I wanted to focus on was many PMs has, especially new PMs and the aspiring PMs that come into this domain, is why should I worry about data science? So hopefully I wanted to answer some of these questions, that why should product managers know, worry, and think about data science going forward. Then second takeaway that I want from this session was like PM, what role does product managers play in products with heavy data science usage? Over the last 2-3 years of my product journey, I've been fortunate enough to work on some of the products which had heavy data science usage. So I wanted to share some of my experiences, and also hopefully many PMs can learn from those experiences, that what product managers can play a role in products with heavy data usage. And last but not the least, some of the guiding principles that product managers can use while building data science products. So hopefully these would be the three key takeaways that the viewers can have from this session.
Great.
Yeah. Uh, 1 minute. I'm not sure. So now, regarding the first focus area, like the question that many people have, like I'm a PM, why should I worry about data science? So I did some quick like Google Trend search, and if you see the searches for data science and data scientists have like been steadily increasing since around end of 2013, and it's like almost about to surpass product manager searches currently, and I'm pretty sure it'll overtake it really soon. So what we have seen is that the if any business manager or any manager thinks about a project or a product, there's a finite resources that he has, and the resource distribution towards data scientists is kind of increasing more and more. And what we are seeing is that the skill sets of data scientists are evolving and becoming multifaceted, and the lion's share of a project's resource is now moving toward data scientists, uh, and and not others. So what we see is that it might become like a zero sum game where data scientists would become a major part of any new products or projects that are being conceptualized. And if we don't evolve, or if we don't adapt to the new way of building products, product manager can like need to think about how they would continue to contribute towards product successes. So if you see this Google trend, this can be one of the indications that product managers should think and worry about data science and what is happening around data world. So that is one of the indications. It's second focus. Second reason is that if you see the world around, conversational commerce and products using conversation as a way to interact is on the rise. So still in India, it's at a nascent stage right now, but across the world, if you see in China and even in Japan, Line and some of the other conversation-based products are becoming much more successful. And as a percentage of commerce share, conversation-based products are grabbing that share from traditional apps that say Rakuten or even Amazon or other products have. So this trend is definitely on the rise, and it's now not just a kind of a influencer or like a initial user phenomena. It's now becoming more and more mainstream, especially in developed markets. Voice-based interfaces are also becoming mainstream right now. If my 5-year-old kid right now talks with Siri, talks with Alexa, and even has bought one or two products after talking with the Alexa voice-based assistant. So this product, especially for digital natives, are becoming really mainstream, and these are products which heavy data science usage. So these are some of the new trends that are coming up, and will definitely be a thing that will be now become a norm in not so distant future. And all of these products require heavy data science, AI, ML usage. So in all those new things happening, interest towards data science increasing. What I foresee being constant is generation of value. So even though what we see is that the budget distribution of new projects is tilting towards data science right now, the tech world will still need a diverse skill sets to generate value for the for businesses and for users. And that is where I see product managers still playing a very vital role in the overall data science world. Product managers need to evolve, learn the new skill sets, um, and continue playing a part in the overall digital product development stack. But what I see is that the product managers need to continuously evolve and learn what they're doing right now to be relevant going forward. So that's what for me has been one of the learnings that I have got over the last 3-4 years, is that product managers need to adapt and learn the new way of building products. And what I see is as a distribution of teams, like earlier product managers used to work with engineers, designers, uh, and obviously business stakeholders to deliver value to the overall organization. Data science is now going to be another function that will play a very critical role and delivering the overall value to businesses and users. So mostly what I see is that a typical project that you will have will be a combination of one product manager, around 3 to 4 engineers, and around 1 or 2 data scientists, apart from obviously on 1 or 2 designers, combined together, delivering value for the product. So that's how what I'm seeing the structure of most of the teams being formed, that are focusing on specific problems here. And it's now becoming a trend. Booking.com kind of started this kind of way of team formation, and this way of team formation is now becoming a norm in many digital focused product development teams. So that's what that's I would say is that the overall usage of data science in product development is increasing day by day. Product managers need to evolve and learn their skills to keep pace with the overall new development. But the role of product managers and how they will deliver value to the overall business and users would continue to be relevant. Now, so now based on that, like now I would say why a product manager needs to think about data science hopefully should be clear now. And uh, I would say many product managers are now also learning and taking various courses to learn about data science as well. Now, but the other question that also keeps coming during my sessions is uh, what role does a product manager play in these data science based products? So one of the things is obviously the classical product management remains the same even in the new data science based world. So I believe most of the product managers they would be familiar with the left diagram, and that's how I would say product management has been defined for years now. And so that kind of I would say the basic principle definition would remain the same. Another circle of data science would be added in the near future in this in this diagram I would say. But the overall product manager being the intersection of these 3 or 4 different verticals would continue to remain the same. And product will continue to define the why and the what and guiding the how part of doing things. So the first principle of product management should remain the same even in the new way of doing things. What is now coming up is kind of an AI ML product manager role, as large organizations like myself, Rakuten, and Google, and Facebook, and Amazon, and many other organizations have started having a specialized data AI product manager role, and which is who is focusing on just like earlier it was focusing on a translator between user needs and the technology teams. And now the AI ML product manager is playing a role of expert translator between user needs and the problems or algorithms that the AI ML models can solve. But one of the things that I see, especially in the new product managers, is focusing a lot on technically interesting problems that may have or that have very low business or customer value. So this is one thing that I advise to especially new AI/ML product managers is to keep the first principles in place and focus on the user and business value, and not focus on the technically interesting problems, because these are the new and shiny objects that you can focus on. So that's how I would say uh, the product manager role is evolving in the tech world as of now. And now these are some of the experiences that I wanted to share as how PM collaboration has helped build data science based products. So if you see this is the trending products widget that you would find on snapdeal.com's homepage, both on the website and the mobile apps. And I was the product manager for this product, I would say. And so when I focused on this product, it was existing beforehand, and some of the data scientists has built really complex algorithms and to build this trending product widget, which were not doing anything. So it was not trending, and we were receiving negative user feedback for it. So when I focused on this as a product manager, I did the basic things that any product manager does, is like defining what should be trending product widget, what is the goal of this widget, and ultimately what user problem that it would solve. And once we define these 3 or 4 basic goals, then even the data scientists also realized the mistakes that they had done on building really complex model without knowing the goal and output. And once they realized the goal and the focus area that they had to focus, we quickly tried 3 or 4 models for this and came up with a really good model that passed our user ratings, that gave us really good impact on our target metrics as well. So with a collaboration of product manager, the goal became clear, the overall user experience improved, and then we finally achieved our metrics, and the overall impact was really clear. So that's how I helped. This was like a small, my first, I would say, as a product, as a product manager, but I combined with a data scientist to deliver value to the business. Then I would say everybody has used a spell check on various search engines, and we also had a spell check before. But how the product angle helped in this was focusing on the specific problem statements and that we wanted to focus on, rather than building a very complex spell check. And so if you see, like, so what earlier the data scientists were trying was like building a very complex uh, like uh, multi-term error spell check, where you can, if you even if you do errors by 3 or 4 letters, um, you can you still be able to spell correct that word. But what we focused analyze, and once we applied the product angle to it, we found out that almost 85% of our users were just doing 1 letter errors. So focusing on just 1 letter errors and improving that part gave us almost 90% of the benefit that our product could have got. And rather than waiting and building it like for multi-term errors, we applied product angle to it, focused on the 80% use case, and derived maximum value out of it. So similarly, another use case here was focusing on this with space and without space kind of errors. This is not a traditional spell check, but once we realized like a lot of users were making this mistake, this this also really added good value to the overall business and users. So we, instead of going to with data scientists and thinking about elaborate complex models, we focused on specific user problems and solved them, and then measured the impact and then move forward. So this was how a collaboration of a product manager and a data scientist helped us win the business and help the user as well. Now I wanted to share a case study also of how we built a successful data science product in Rakuten. So
Abhishek, can yeah, can we stop for few queries?
sure.
Okay, so yeah, it was an interest. Sorry,
Should I stop sharing my screen? Or?
no, that is fine.
Okay.
So it was an interesting discussion till now, especially what the scenarios you have told about the spell check and that the team's structure should change. So can you help us understand what do you mean by digital focused team structures and how they are different from the structures which we are having till now?
Yeah. So what I mean is that so these teams are now that I am talking about is kind of solver teams. The concept. So the solver team concept is that we are instead of earlier departments and like different units and other platform-based team structures. What is now becoming very common is like you find a problem, either for user, for merchants, or like the stakeholder can be anyone, and then you create a small team out of a product manager, 1 or 2 data scientists, and then a few engineers, and just all of them together focusing on solving their problem. So these are Booking.com kind of pioneered this way of team formation, where they had these small pods, they would call pods or solver teams that were focusing on specific user problems, which was ultimately improving either the user experience or the merchant experience or other aspects. So this way of team formation, yeah,
Okay, so
is
you
now
mean
becoming.
you mean that each team having one data science person, one product person, then a tech team, which who work together to solve the problem.
Yes, yes. So it's very different from the earlier way of having a large tech team, and then there are two or three product managers with that tech team, and then data science team or the analytics team being very completely separate. So like mostly earlier teams were like there's a data analytics or science department, then there's a product management department, then there's a technology department, and then there's also a design department, and then based on and then some people collaborate with each other depending upon projects to deliver some outcomes. So that was been one of the ways that many of the organizations have been working. Now, going forward, what I see is that, and few organizations have proved a success case for it as well, is about this solver and pod kind of teams, where you have all these teams from different, all these people from different teams coming together and becoming a solver team to solve specific problems. So
Understood.
that's
Understood.
now becoming quite common in many digital focused companies.
Okay. So one query which has been asked by our viewer, which is a general query which I also see whenever we discuss about data science, data analytics, is that
Yeah.
startups in the startup environment there's always a resource crunch, right? Whether
Yep.
it's about the
Yep.
funds or tech bandwidth, right? So
Yep.
in such an environment, how product managers should convince senior management team to invest in data science related projects, and if you can draw some learnings from your Snapdeal experience when it was a startup, how you dealt with that problem, those situations.
Yeah. So I would say that's what I would also maybe cover in my some of the next set of slides, is that so data science as a concept is a very broad concept right now, and as a concept also is still evolving. So many of the problems that we see in our companies, especially in startups and right now, uh, can be solved through very simple techniques as well. So what we generally do an error in kind of judgment is that we tend to think that there is a problem which can be solved maybe through some kind of advanced technique. But what we forget generally is that maybe those problems can be solved through simple techniques which are very not exactly, I would say, very complex ML algorithm, but like a simple tweaks that you can do uh, in your product, which can help the users. So data science, I would say, is a broad term. For me, data science is how you use data or some kind of metrics in your products to continuously improve it. So many times, especially for startups, I would say is that rather than focusing on like just you should use data science, if you focus on even small techniques or small improvements or small hacks, though that is not I would say the traditional ML approach, I would as of now. But even if you apply a small technique based on user understanding, and that improves your overall user experience, that should be okay. So what I say is that you should understand the overall complexities of data science and ML algorithms. But what you use in your products is something that will differentiate a good one from an average product manager. So what we will actually use in your products will be something that will be very contextual and very specific to the problems that you are solving. So having the understanding and knowledge of data science, but using it kind of on a very contextual and a specific basis is how things will go forward. Especially if you're a startup with a very specific or a smaller problem statements, those can be solved in very unique and different ways rather than applying very complex algorithms to every use case. So for startups, I would advise that maybe trying some uh, small approaches or small hacks might be the way forward rather than applying complex algorithms.
Understood, understood. So starter product manager should focus on trying to solve the problems in a simpler way as compared to
Yeah,
focusing on high resource consuming projects of data
yes,
science.
yes.
Okay, and as they
I would say
mature,
very found that example really good, so I would share that as well next slide in coming slides. That a big problem can be solved through very maybe quick, quirky techniques.
sure, sure. Let's move ahead. Let's ask. We have some
Yeah,
more detailed queries. We can ask those queries at the end. Let's move ahead with the presentation.
sure. Thanks for the questions. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, yes, we can see.
Okay. So this was one of the case studies I had talked about earlier during my talking about a small case study where we had built a successful kind of data science based product, Rakuten. So it was is another one of the small hacks that can really give a big impact. I would say. So as I mentioned, one of the problems that we focus here in Japan is kind of repurchases, or how we can enable users to purchase more and more, because the Japanese population is shrinking. We are almost reached to 80% of Japan users using our products in one way or another. So the growth for us will come by making the same user purchase with us more and more. So in during those user studies and analyzing the purchase patterns of users, we figured out that around 62% of our users were still searching for products even if they were purchasing the same thing again, and only around 19% were using their order history to repurchase products. So this was kind of an insight for us, and also it was validated by some of the user interviews that we are doing. That even though we had few quite heavy users, we as a product we are not helping them repurchase products efficiently. So this was one of the small improvement areas that we wanted to improve. And what we came up with was with experiment with a kind of a buy again widget with multiple data science models. So the goal was pretty clear. We wanted to enable users to buy a specific set of products that they had purchased earlier. The problem for the data scientists also was very clear, that they had to come up with different kind of models to enable these repeat users to purchase again quickly. So we set the clear objective. We kind of had a very clear set of hypotheses that we wanted to verify, and then I could not share the exact impact on metrics we had, but uh, so the because the goal was clear, we built a really clear hypothesis. And the overall data science team was very clear with what they were trying to achieve. The final impact was really good on the overall the D30 repeat rates and the conversion rate of high rank users. So this was like a small but a very impactful kind of journey for us, and was one of the, I would say, highlights for us in the last quarter. So that's what I wanted to highlight here, was that it's like small insights, small database insights, combined coupled with a very clear objective, and coupled with good data science models, can maybe really move needles in a very big way compared to, say, building complex, say, image search or voice search things. So these are like some small things that product managers can do to improve and deliver value to users. Now, so the next set of slides would focus on some of the guiding principles that I have learned based on my experience of the last 2-3 years of building data science based products, and hopefully that can help the aspiring and the PMs as well. The first thing, as I mentioned during some of the case studies as well, was like having a very clear goal in mind in any of the products. I would say it's a cliched kind of thing. It should be like there and assumed by default for every product managers, but more often than not, it's missed by even experienced product managers a lot. So that's why I wanted to reiterate this point again. Like even by building data science products, having a very clear cut goal and objective in mind is really important. Now this was what I was talking about, like like rule based or simple systems can solve many complex problems. So I would say this. I really like this feature of Gmail, where like if you just find some, like write something as please find attached, and if you missed attaching the attachment, it gives you a warning. And it's like simple rule-based system. There are no complex ML algorithms in behind this. So some of these simple tweaks and techniques can really impact or improve a user experience and building complex models. Now, another important thing by building ML products is like learning from users. So, and many times I've seen products failing to get the feedback from users about whether whatever they're showing has been useful or not. It's a tough problem to solve. You cannot ask the users every time they take certain action whether this is something useful or not. But that is one of the challenges going forward. That how do you learn from users in a graceful manner? Uh, so this is one of the guiding principles that we definitely have, that the user feedback should be taken more and more and gracefully in products. Another very crucial aspect of machine learning is labeling, data labeling. And for me, what I've given I've always had either a small team within product, or we have partnered with some different bigger data labeling companies to enable a very good set of data for our machine learning algorithms. So product team plays a big role in this aspect of machine learning as well, and it's really crucial for any successful ML product. Um, then the next aspect is, I would say this is one of the most critical and the biggest aspect, and most of the products fail in this, is that if since you're building a machine learning product, there are bound to be false positives. I assume most of people here understand the term, most of the problems in machine learning are classifying your inputs into, you predict something and then something actually happens. So many times the prediction that the data science algorithm does are wrong, and those cases come into this false positive uh, block, and it's bound to happen. Like no ML algorithm till now has been found to be 100% accurate all the times. And so as a product manager, building for failures is really crucial. So so mm, so so whatever product that you build, that has been the biggest change in, I would say, the product development process from the earlier ways. Is that earlier we used to assume that our systems would be 100% available, or will give the correct result 100% of the time. In ML or data science based products, you need to build for failures. ML products or ML based systems can never be 100% accurate as of now. Maybe it achieves 100% accuracy later. So you, as a product manager, you need to build uh, those cues and help users understand that maybe the output that you're giving to them might be wrong, and you need to improve upon those aspects. So this is one of the biggest, I would say, factor in building ML based products, that you need to build for and kind of for graceful failures in your product. So yeah, so overall, broadly, if you see the product development process that you have while building AML products is kind of can be broadly defined in these 5 stages. Product managers play a critical role in the first two and the last stage of this process. Uh, Especially in bigger companies, data gathering is a huge and cumbersome process. I would say if you have any ML product, especially in a large organization, I would say more than 50% of time is spent on data gathering. So that's a very cumbersome process, especially in large organizations. And product managers play a critical role in that, as well as goal defining part. The data parsing and model creation part is where the data scientists play a very crucial and critical role. And obviously, then the accuracy testing part is something that product manager should own completely. And it does not involve only say like System testing, it has to be a combination of qualitative and quantitative testing. So as of now, what I had done is that we have a team of in-house evaluators that continuously evaluate our in-house algorithms, and we have partnered with various agencies, and also we have certain products to which we crowdsourced evaluation as well. So that is really a crucial part of my product team, is focusing on the ML algorithms evaluation, and that is a core component of product management in AI ML products. So this is the broad, I would say, summary of the presentation. Uh, so broadly, about the takeaways that I would want to have for everyone, all the viewers, is the following: like, data science as a field is growing, and it's important to product management is increasing day by day. PMs need to adapt and learn to keep abreast of the changes that are happening. And the biggest thing for me is that the basic principles for product management do not change; they remain the same. And as I mentioned in the last few slides, the guiding principles that product managers should keep in mind while building data science based products is like building for failures. Data labeling is really crucial. Build to learn from users, and rule based small systems can solve many of the complex problems that we see that the users can have. And obviously keeping the goal in mind is still very important, even by building data science products. So yeah, that's the end of my journey, the slides. And I can share some of the reference materials that you can use for further study, which I have found useful while learning about data science as of now. And I would want to just end on this quote that I really like from Mr. Bezos. As product managers, we should be stubborn on the overall vision but flexible on details. Now I want to achieve that. So thanks for listening.
Awesome, awesome, Abhishek. Be stubborn on goals, but be flexible on details. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks for sharing these details with us, your learnings, your experience. Now, let's move on to some queries which our viewers have asked. Sumit
Sure.
Mukherjee wants to. So, Sumit Mukherjee has asked one query which you have touched upon also. I will try to rephrase that. So, you have touched upon the topic of how do organizations begin harnessing data, especially
Yep.
legacy company with lot of unstructured data.
Yep.
You have touched upon that, but if you can uh, spend some more time in spelling out the role of a product manager in goals. So you told that the role of a product manager is in two stages. One is goal defining and then accuracy testing, right? So what is supposed outcome which is supposed from a product manager? If you can spend some more time, it will help Sumit and all of us also. Yes.
Yeah. So no, there's another process which is the data gathering part. Is also the product managers can play a really a big role. So what I see is that especially in I think most organizations right now, the data is present in many silos. There are different departments, and there are different. I would say even some, like for a company like Rakuten, there are even different companies within a group, and so they have their own way of representation of data and many other things. So as a product manager, what we focus on is now they have defined a few data product manager roles within the organization, whose only role is to find a common representation and view of data for the entire group. And obviously this role requires a good amount of technical knowledge as well. So many companies, even we call it like a technical product manager role. So these roles are now coming up, where product manager, a person with a very good technical understanding, but also having some kind of a business or user outlook, is playing this role of a technical product manager and working to have a single or a unified view of data for the entire organization. So especially in larger organizations, this role and this kind of person are becoming more and more like a crucial role. and up now playing bigger roles in especially larger organizations. So with this kind of a unified view of data, building useful products is has almost impossible to build. So that's, I would say, one of the prerequisites of I would say any larger organizations is that to have that kind of a structure where there are like few technical product managers working to unify the data view for the entire organization to build on top of that. So I would want my earlier CTO whom I worked with in Snapdeal had kind of said one thing which I still remember is like we need to centralize data engineering to kind of democratize data science. So the data engineering part has to be centralized and become one kind of a common way so that the data scientists can use that centralized data for of the organization in different ways possible, creative ways.
Understood. Understood. That's great. So one of our viewer, Nitish Tiwari, wants to understand the
Okay.
difference between data science and web analytics.
Okay, a great question. Yeah, it's one of the most, I would say, confusing terms, and there's still, I would say, not a clear answer to it. Mm. So, data science, I would say, is a broad uh, term that is used for kind of everything data under the sun, right, as of now. So data science is, I would say, the superset, and web analytics, I would say, is a subset of the entire bigger superset in simple terms. So data science is kind of a very broad, just like even like AI, ML. And AI is the top superset, and ML is kind of subset of AI. So similarly, uh, data science is the overall superset, and web analytics is one part of data science. So data science is has to like it's a kind of overarching term for everything that you can do with data. You can build machine learning algorithms. You can do all sorts of things with data, and I would say creative use of data is what is referred to as data science, uh, as of for me. And web analytics is a specific segment of data science which focuses on understanding or the user behavior of websites or the mobile sites or even apps. So like it's a, I would say, a subset of the entire broad overarching data science umbrella.
Understood. So
That's my understanding of it.
okay.
There's
So
no
data
clear definition to it.
understood. So data science is a kind of superset of web analytics.
Yeah.
Data science is much more than web analytics, and it's a creative
Yes.
way how to use data.
Yes.
So one few of our users want to know, is this a more a general query, how one
Okay.
can transition from to a product in to a role of a product manager in e-commerce. What top three skills should one build for an entry level product manager job? Also, I wanted to ask this query: what is it that you look for when you hire product managers in your team? A general product manager, as how it is different from a data science product manager. If you can throw some light around that topic as one topic, it will be great.
Okay. Yeah. So I think broadly two three questions. One is uh, w- what
Right, right.
qualities should a person have if he's looking for a role in e-commerce product management? That I would understand as the first question.
Right, right.
Yeah. So for the second is what qualities do I look for when I hire for a general product manager compared to say a data science product manager?
Right, right. Your view is around
Okay.
this.
Okay. Yeah, for the first question, I would say so e-commerce as an industry has evolved in India right now, and when I joined and what it is stage right now, there is very huge difference. So given that the e-commerce in India right now is quite evolved, uh, the focus areas or the skill sets that generally hiring managers look for right now are broadly the same as any general product manager that I would talk about in the next question. So the first is technical aptitude, data analysis skills, and ability to uh, simplify complex situations or problems. So these are the top three things that I look for hiring new product managers, experienced product managers, or any kind of product managers. And it applies to e-commerce as well. For e-commerce, there are certain specific areas like supply chain product management, which is something which is very specific to e-commerce that is not there in other general product management roles. And also now, because of the fintech and the finance boom, there are certain fintech focused product management roles in e-commerce as well. So in those areas, an additional requirement comes, which is like having a domain experience in say supply chain or finance. So those are some additional requirement that is there for some specific specialized roles in product management in e-commerce. But broadly, the first three things about technical aptitude, like over ability to simplify complex problems or situations, and third is a kind of ability to work across different domains, is something I would say is a common across all roles. There's some additional requirements come in specific domain specific roles like supply chain or fintech, in even in e-commerce as well. So that I would say would answer the first part of the question.
Sure.
Uh, the second part, I think, what you wanted to understand is like hiring a general product manager compared to say a data science product manager. What are the key differences?
Right.
I would say the technical aptitude part is something that I focused on specifically if I hiring a data science product manager, because data science product management tends to be more technical in nature, given the kind of work that is involved. So that is one thing that differentiates me from say overall general product manager. I focus on technical aptitude, but like you don't focus in detail on that aspect. If you're hiring a product manager for data science AI/ML products, technical aptitude part of things I focus a lot more in depth, because as of now that is required a lot in AI/ML product managers.
Can you explain what do you mean by depth in technical aptitude? So how is it different from a general overview of technical aptitude for a general product manager?
Yeah, so given that, in AI/ML product management, but right now, given as I mentioned, data gathering and synthesis of data is a very critical and a big part of the overall role. So given that that person will be uh, dealing with a lot of low level data across different parts of the organization, his ability to understand technical concepts, his ability to understand uh, data stacks, the big data stack like Hadoop, Hive, um, NoSQL data stack, why NoSQL is used and why SQL is used, and all those aspects become really crucial for him to effectively play the role of a data product manager. So that's why understanding in depth of these stacks, not actually maybe coding for it, but understanding in depth uh, usage and pros and cons and all those things of these technologies becomes critical for an AI/ML or data science product manager.
Okay. So understanding of these big data analysis tools is something you look for when you are hiring a data science product manager.
Yep. As of now, yes.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah. So yeah.
One
Any
of
other
our
question?
one of our viewer wants to understand uh, what would you advise to a startup trying to bring the group buying model in India?
Yeah,
Do you
I
think
saw the
that
question in the meetup page as well.
okay?
And
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I really don't have an answer to it. I think right now it's a concept that has worked in China, It hasn't worked in any other place till now. So it's something that can be tried. Whether it will work in India or not is we might need to ask Bijan Daruwala. But
Okay.
broadly, something that we can experiment and try and see if that works. The only thing that I generally act as a guiding principle in these things is there any offline user consumer behavior that we see that we can map it online? And group buying as a concept, I don't see any offline existing user behavior as of now yet in India. So that is one thing that is kind of a maybe warning signal, but broadly, anything can be tried and tested and see how it can work. It hasn't worked till now, but maybe it can work in India or other countries as well. So yeah, so I would say just like most product problems, you need to experiment, try and see on a small group and see how that scales up.
Understood. Understood. So it remains to be
Yeah.
tested basically.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So we are coming to the end of my queries. So now this is my favorite query, which I ask each product manager I meet. So what are the some of the key books or blogs which have influenced your product management journey in general? Also, you have also about you can share some details about how to increase our knowledge about data science as product managers. We have shared the Andrew NG blog, but I believe it is very specific to data scientists. Any material which you will advise to refer from a product manager perspective?
Okay. Sure. Yeah. So books, I think generally, broadly, 2 3 books have been really influential in my product journey. Hooked is one of the topmost, I would as one book that has really influenced my product thinking. Hooked by I think Neil is there,
Right.
and then Inspired is another by Marty Kagan.
Agreed.
Uh,
Agreed.
so these two, I would say, are topmost books for me that has really helped me understand and influence my product learnings. Also, the Silicon Valley Product Group, which was led by Ben Horowitz, and um, so they have a series of blogs on product management that also has been very influential in my product thinking and how I learn product management. So these I would rate as top 3 resources that I keep referring to even now. The SVP Silicon Valley Product Group.
Understood. That's a great group.
Yeah. For data science specifically, right now, as I have shared some of the resources like this, the Facebook guide to ML as well, which is also which focuses a lot on the process side of things, of how what are the processes that are used in building a machine learning products. And I think the wait.byte.com also you can try refer, like it has some non-geeky stuff that you can refer to as product managers. Overall, the literature around product management for data science is still, I would say, very nascent. There are hardly many blogs that have been written by relevant people, like from which you can gather insights. Right now, I think it's more about experience right now, and even for me also, I've started building data science products in the last 2 3 years. So overall, I would say the literature and really classical books on this topic has, I would say, I have not come across, but if I come across some of them, I will definitely share with the audience.
Sure.
Yeah,
Understood, Abhishek.
yeah.
We come to the end of our discussion.
Okay,
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. Thanks a lot for taking out time for sharing your learnings and experiences with our viewers and our team. It has been a really
thanks.
nice experience. Let's have a offline event, face to face, even whenever you are in India.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, great talking with everyone, the
Thanks.
viewers as well.
Thanks, Abhishek.
Thanks,
Have a great day.
thanks. Yeah, same have you.
Okay.
Bye, Achal.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Thanks everyone. Thanks for attending this session. And our team has worked hard, really hard, in ensuring these things go well. We will share our summary of the session as well as the PPT which was shared by Abhishek on the meetup page. You can also view the YouTube recording of this session on the YouTube channel of Product Tank. So this is the list of our team members, and this is Achal. I will end the session here.